Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Washington Boulevard Stabilization Construction Update public meeting. My name is Irick O'Neill. I'm the Outreach Coordinator for Kitsap County Public Works Roads Division. I'm just going to go over a couple of housekeeping items before we get started with the presentation. First of all, this Zoom meeting is being recorded, and the recording will be available to view on our project page after probably be posted tomorrow. We'll have a link to that on our slides. During the presentation, all attendees will be muted to ensure audio quality. Actually, sorry, I'm going to share my screen here. I should have done that. Bear with me here. Okay. All right, Greg, can you just acknowledge that you can see the first slide on the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here's this is much better. So the as mentioned, the Zoom meeting is being recorded. There is the link for that where we will have the recording available. As I mentioned, all attendees will be muted. Title VI, interpreter and translation services for non-English speakers and accommodations for persons with disabilities are available upon request. You can contact Kitsap One or send an email to help@kitsap1.com for questions or assistance with Title VI requirements. The presentation is going to be facilitated by staff, and after the presentation, we will have a question and comment period. There are going to be two ways that you can ask a question. One is verbally. You will click your raise hand feature on Zoom, and we will call out your name so that you can verbally ask the question. The second option is to type your question or comment in the question and answer dialog box. For call-in users, please dial 9 on your keypad. That will signal us that you would like to comment. We'll call out the last four digits of your phone number and allow you to verbally ask a question or comment. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tim Beachy.
Well, I've been waiting for this day for quite a while. As you remember, our last community meeting, I promised that we would have another community meeting before construction started to go over what to expect during construction. So I'm Tim Beachy. I'm the project manager. You've seen me before. Tonight's agenda, what we're going to cover is the introduction to the construction team. We'll go over the construction schedule, what to expect during construction, who to contact during the construction, and then, like I said, we'll have questions and answers. So next slide. So you know who I am. Steve Nichols is here in the Huskies UW shirt. He's our construction manager for Kitsap County. Tom, I cannot pronounce his last name, is from South Pacific Project Manager. How do you pronounce your last name? Oplanov. He's the project manager for South Pacific. Greg Grantham, you see on the screen there, he's a supervisor, but we on site for South Pacific. And then Irick is our outreach coordinator. Next slide. So I'm going to turn this over to Steve and Tom. This is a fairly basic presentation. It's all about the timeline for construction and what to expect during the construction. So Steve.
Good evening. We have a project schedule that Tom presented to us today at the pre-construction meeting. So, and by reviewing that, actual construction will start up there somewhere around July 28th, and then continue through September with a completion of roughly towards the end of September. Working hours, basically same as what the county allows, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. If there's any type of Saturday work required, that's a request by the contractor from the county to be able to work on Saturday. So during construction, and I'm going to kind of let Tom touch on this a little bit. He'll probably have a flagger up there to help people get through the area because of the narrow area that it is. Vehicle access will be maintained, except that during the project, we've allowed 2 road closures of up to 8 hours for the paving and some of the shoulder work. So Tom, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we're having the community safety is one of our top priorities, and we were told today that there are pedestrians on that road, and we are very familiar with keeping pedestrians safe, and so we will have a flagger there at all times, and if there are any pedestrians, just make eye contact or wave, and they'll make sure they get a hold of the operators to know that we can get you through safely. And then any vehicular traffic will get you through as quick as possible during construction.
And if I could just add, one of the questions at our previous meeting was, hey, what about us walking through the site? And so we committed to looking into that, and it's in the contract. Sound Pacific, they will maintain safe pedestrian passage through the work area. Like Tom said, make eye contact with people on site. There's a little bit of fine print on the bottom. As Steve mentioned, we've allowed up to 2 road closures for 8 hours each. We are requiring that, Tom lets us know 1 week prior to that, to each closure. And they will also put a sign on site informing the public of that. In addition to that, Eric and I will send out an email blast to the community that are on our sign up, letting them know about that closure. So those will be the two major ones. With 1 week notice prior to.
On any pedestrian traffic, we ask you to please allow the flagger to escort you through the site. Just because you make eye contact, don't assume that it's good to come through. Let the flagger escort you through the site. It'll be safer for everyone.
So during construction, the Kitsap County Inspector up there, his name is Kevin Mohundro. And his phone number is on the screen there, 360-509-6661. He'll be able to answer any questions or help anybody that's related to the work that's actually taking place up there.
So that was really short and not very sweet, but it's really about what the time duration is and what to expect during it. So any questions from the public or county staff about specifics?
Again, before we open up to questions, I just want to highlight this slide again. If you'd like to ask a question verbally, use the raise hand feature, or you can also type questions into the Q&A dialog box. So this time, we've got a question, looks like in the dialogue. Commissioner Gelder has asked, what's that equipment we were looking on at the slide?
Yeah.
Looking at on the slide.
So that's a if we go to the last slide again, or one before, it's a horizontal driller. That's a subcontractor, Jensen Drilling.
Yes.
As it turns out, our geotech that has been on this project for nearly a decade with us, Andy Holson, he's pleased to see Jensen Drilling be a part of the project. He's worked with them before. So that's the horizontal drilling rig. I was just recently on the Pacific Coast Highway, and like, what do you know? They're doing some of the same items down there. So I was kind of interested to see that.
For any of you that have ever been through Aberdeen, when you come into Aberdeen, there's a large hillside on your right-hand side as you're going into town. And you'll see some little white pipes that are coming out horizontally coming out of the bank. And that's the same thing that we're going to do here, which is relieve the water pressure that's in the hillside, and it'll slowly dribble and drain out through those pipes.
Thank you, Commissioner Gelder, for that question. Commissioner Gelder has got a second question. How many folks are in attendance? It looks like we've got 11 attendees currently. And we have a question from Andrea Mozak. Andrea, I'm gonna unmute your connection, and you should be able to ask a question or comment.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is just about some of the kind of putting the site back together after all the drilling and everything. And I've asked this at a question at a meeting before, but can you just touch about like any replanting and revegetation of the site? And also, I just noticed with all these low tides that there's a little bit of bulkhead remaining under that demolished home. Is there any possibility that while you're working in there, we could get that removed too? I know part of this is to kind of restore that feeder bluff, and I'd hate to see that left in there if we have an opportunity to have heavy machinery in the site.
Two good questions. So for plant restoration, let's get these plans posted on the project site. So the plan set will show some restoration of the areas that we've disturbed. And although Tom's group will not be doing that, we'll have our stormwater crews actually doing the demo plant restoration. The area where the house was removed is stabilized, but we still want to go back in and plant some native vegetation. So that will be covered in the plan set, or you can get a hold of me personally also for more details what the mitigation plan is for the plantings. The bulkhead. That was asked by me 2 years ago, and the short answer is that the bulkhead is going to remain. It's also a little bit of concern from our geotech that if that bulkhead was removed, we would need to do another full study to see if the mass of the soil that it's holding would allow another part of the road to become imperiled. So as for right now, that bulkhead is remaining.
Okay, we've got questions from David in the question and answer dialogue box. What would you like us to do when there are deliveries via vehicles over 5 tons? So what I've been working with Jacques Dean, our maintenance supervisor, and what he's done for that is he had to ask people to contact us just to let them know, not necessarily for safety reasons, but if there's a large and many trucks going through there, that they can keep a better eye on the road. We currently still have it posted at 5 ton. Because it's a process to remove that, we felt it best to go ahead and do the project and then remove that 5 ton. But if you contact us, just so that we know, I know Jacques has worked with the LP gas companies in the past and said, it's fine, just maybe do your delivery later in the day with less of a load on. But there's not currently a real safety concern for that, but we don't want to have a lot of heavy traffic running through there. So just contact us, and it should be, you will get permission to have deliveries over 5 ton. We've got another question in the Q&A box. Will the old trees down on the beach, is that maybe beach?
So,
Nicklin?
So there will be some trees that will be removed. We call them out in the plans. We're trying to avoid the big trees. They're again on the plans. When they're posted, you can see some of the larger trees and then which ones we're able to avoid. But the intent was to avoid the large trees and let them remain.
David has a follow-up question. Should he contact Kevin with the over 5-ton deliveries?
He would be a good start because he could go directly to Jock. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
you can contact Kevin and then Kevin will get a hold of Jock and they'll work it out and he'll get back to you, you know, within a short amount of time.
And thanks for that question, because the idea of having Kevin there on site, being the #1 contact, he knows who to go to, and I'd hate for you to have to pick and choose who you need to call. So Kevin would be a first good contact.
Okay, clarification from Nicklin. Nicklin was referring to the fallen trees.
If they're already down, unless they're in the way of the project, they will remain.
I'm gonna put Kevin's contact information back up on the screen again.
Yeah, and let's do that at the end again too.
Yeah.
And like Eric said, this will be on the project website, this recording, so, or in this presentation, so his contact will be there.
Going to put up, I want to highlight this slide here. Whoops. Sorry.
Well, Eric's doing that. I want to thank Sound Pacific for joining us. I mean, they're not required to be here. The fact that they are, and they have Greg who will be on site with us, makes me feel comfortable that they're willing to work with the community, keep traffic flow, and do the job right. So I appreciate that.
And I just wanted to highlight this link here. This is the link for the project page, and this we're going to update this with the project plans as well as the recording of this presentation. So
Tim, why don't you put my number up there too, in case Kevin something happens and stuff. So I'll be the backup. If they can't get a hold of Kevin, have them get a hold of me.
Even as we speak, we'll do that. So this will be on the project site, but
253-405-9711.
thanks, Steve.
great. Okay. Is there any other questions at this time? Let's see.
I have a question for the community. We think the best way to keep you up to date is with the emails that we've been sending out and keeping the website updated, the project site updated. If you think of a better way or another way for you, please contact me, because I think it's, as long as you're in the know and you've been a great community to work with, we just don't want to surprise you with unknowns or road closes because we didn't get a hold of you. But we'll be posted on site a week prior to, and then an email blast as well. Construction invariably has weather, related, so if things get delayed, we'll want to keep you up to date.
Great. Actually, looks like Nicklin has a hand raised. So Nicklin, I'm going to unmute your connection, and you should be able to go ahead and ask your question. Nicklin, are you there? Okay, it doesn't appear. Okay, we've got another question from Andrea. How do we get on the email list? Andrea, I'm going to I'm going to type in my email address, and if you send me an email with your email address, I will be happy to add you to that list. Okay, and we've got a question from Russ Andrews. The email announcements seem to be working well. Thanks for keeping us posted. We really appreciate it. Okay, that's actually a comment. Thank you, Russ. Thank you for that, Russ. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions at this time? Email great for us. Thank you, David.
And if you see new residents move in, please keep them in the loop. I think it's worked in the past, but we want to capture everybody.
Okay, well, I don't see any further questions, so I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us and participate in the presentation. With that, unless anybody has anything else.
Well, I'm good.
No, so we'll see you in about 1 month.
I'm not, yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.